To the Thursday show here on the Associated Guests. I, as always, am your host, Alfie Animus, here at the Bear in Mind channel. Today, we've got a lot of stuff we want to get through, so skipping the rest of the intro and getting into it. Let's start with some Twitter trash.
Open the door and they have a warrant?
They don't have a warrant.
They said they'll get one.
Okay, if they get one, then they're gonna break the door down.
That's fine, but I don't want to open the door if they don't have a warrant.
See, and this is fucking retarded. Okay, two things are happening here. One, this person, she's gonna start screaming how she's Native American here in a minute. First of all, I've seen her. She has a ginger daughter. She's not. At least not any more than Elizabeth Warren or myself. Pretty much anyone from the area of Oklahoma and Arkansas that I'm from, everyone thinks they're Cherokee. They're not. They're not. Just because you live close to a thing doesn't mean you're a thing. Okay, just because you live close to the reservations does not make you an Indian or Native American. So this DoorDasher, she looks like a very kind person. However, she ran into her customer's house. Luckily, she hit the jackpot and she got Megan Gooder, someone who's a little crazier than Megan Good, at least on the surface level. Because as you can see,
Fucking decency to open this door since you guys are pointing fucking guns at me.
Can do.
they're not pointing guns. All their guns are holstered. Like, look, see, these are hands. These are hands. These are empty hands.
The fucking decency to open this door since you guys are pointing fucking guns at me.
No, see, they don't have any guns in their hands. These people are retarded. I watched this whole thing. I saw it on the Hodge Twins this morning. But so this lady runs in their house and she's scared of ICE. You don't know who this lady is. She looks sweet. She could be a murderer. Okay, she could be in the back room with your baby right now. She's not, thank God. But she's worried about what ICE is going to do to her baby. And then check this out. She's like, oh my God, I have a baby in here. I have a baby in here. I have a baby in here. Wait, where is it? Did I pass it? There's a scene where she's literally holding up her baby to prove that she has a baby because she doesn't want ICE to shoot her baby. Fucking retards.
I will let. What's your name? Let me see. What's your name? You, ma'am. I don't.
No se pagan de las familias. Tengo mis dos niñas solas.
Now! Put your hand on the gun the whole time.
That's because you're acting like fucking Denzel Washington and John Q. The only difference was John Q was trying to save his son. You're trying to help someone who ran into your house, who could be anybody. You won't kick her out of your house. You won't let her right here. You're holding her on the porch, like John Wick holding that dude hostage, or John Q holding that guy on the steps of the hospital hostage. Albeit it was for good reason on that. It's not for this. And this girl, there's got to be a longer clip somewhere. But there's one point where she goes out there and she's holding her baby. She's like, I don't want you to kill my baby, while she's holding her baby up in front of ICE officers who still haven't drawn their guns. And then the retards with the whistle show up. But yeah, just getting into that. So, skipping ahead, Trump on Iran, sorry. What's happening?
You're going to see some things that...
Revolution. And I will tell you this, keeping your word is something that absolutely defines you. And so regardless of where you line up on foreign intervention, on whether it's in America's best interests, right, Iran having a different government than they do right now, the Islamic regime, let's get to individual responsibility. If you make a promise, you need to keep it. And that is an issue right now that Donald Trump needs to grapple with. This is true, by the way, across the board, not just politics, in your relationships, in business, period. You make a promise, keep your word. Just do that always. That's a good rule of thumb. If nothing else, your golden rule should, if you give someone, it should be, if you give someone your word, keep it. This brings us to
And I
Donald
try
Trump,
to every day.
telling the people of
And the
Iran
people who
that he
work
would
for
support
me,
them. And then
they know
yesterday,
this very
in
well.
no uncertain terms, that the United States, he doubled down and said that we would support the revolutionaries in Iran.
And by the way, to all Iranian patriots, keep protesting. Take over your institutions if possible. and save the name of the killers and the abusers that are abusing you. You're being very badly abused.
Who are abusing you? You're being very badly abused.
5 different sets of numbers. I hear numbers. Look, 1 death is too much. I hear much lower numbers, and then I hear much higher numbers. But I say save their names because they'll pay a very big price.
And
the U.S. would get involved if Iran started killing protesters.
And he keeps
They
saying
have,
this.
By the many thousands, according to reports.
Well, we'll see what that is. I've heard 2 numbers, but we'll see what that is.
Well, now we're
His
hearing
profile's
that
getting
they're
very
hanging
Hitchcocky, and
protesters
just want to throw
tomorrow.
that out
So it
there.
comes back to the question, have they crossed your red line, or has the line moved?
I haven't heard about the hanging. If they hang them, you're going to see some things that...
Some things are going to happen. You're going to see it.
From and what your thought process is, but you'll perhaps be very happy.
I don't know how good a person you are, but if you're a good one, you'll be happy.
Do such a thing. We will take very strong action.
Well, okay, so that seems pretty definitive to me. Now, strong action doesn't mean at this point diplomacy or words.
Right.
Considering that we understand where we are.
We're going to touch them.
Being said, the protests are continuing to escalate. We are now 2.5 weeks in, and it's kind of coming down to the wire. It's go time.
And some of this stuff, if you want to see the videos, it's clearly we can't show them here. I've looked some of them up myself. It's brutal. It's things that you wouldn't imagine happening in this day and age. Mostly because we live in a Western bubble, but it's insane. They are literally lining people up and gunning them down in the streets, shooting into crowds, chest level.
Now, to be clear, I also made sure to point this out yesterday.
The Ayatollahs people, not the protesters. The protesters there.
All I know is that it shot up from 500 to, all right, it's at least 2,000 minimum in the span of a day. The low number that we're seeing now is 2,400, and the high number we're seeing is 12,000. I've seen some people claim 16,000. I've seen some people claim.
But one is
0.
too many.
Those are outliers. Call it 2,400 to 12,000 people dead.
Well, I've heard some other numbers because of some people that you'll figure out which crowd they're in. One of them said 99 million people have been killed in Iran. We have to go in there right now. And then the reply from Jake Shields was, I heard it was closer to 6 million.
Okay.
Yeah, that crowd is out there in force. They believed everything the Gaza Ministry of Health said, took it lock, stock, and hey, this is God's honest truth here, but not one word coming out of Iran do they believe. They didn't even believe protests in some cases.
Well, they'll take the inverse, and they'll try and gaslight you into the inverse of reality. They'll go, oh, people who didn't care about human rights for a long time in Gaza. It's interesting that they care now about Iran. Well,
you know, the pretendicide in Gaza.
One also involves the United States' best interest. And I don't know if you see the commonality, but the commonality is 2 death cults with the Islamic regime and Hamas. Also, money exchanging hands. This idea that it's inconsistent to say, okay, Israel and Hamas are fighting a war, and that's not our fight, but Iran, who has threatened the United States repeatedly and killed, by the way, many American troops. People forget about that. This is something that does affect us. As to whether we should intervene, I understand that's a legitimate conversation to have, but you cannot start off with a lie. You have some people saying, oh, it's not actually going on. None of this is real. There's no conflict in Iran.
Yeah.
Imagine someone like that being president. Hey, here you go. Here's a death toll. We don't know what it is, but we know that this would be the time to take action. No, it's not happening.
Well, what do I do with these bodies?
Yeah, they don't exist. Don't try and gaslight me. Right? Like, let's try and frame it that way. So, irrefutable. Today, Iran's judiciary chief, which means nothing, said that the government would, quote, prioritize speedy trials for those who committed acts of terrorism. The first execution
Speedy trials. Yeah.
For today. It's Irfan.
That's not a speedy trial. They don't have prosecutors. They don't have defenders.
No trial.
Yeah.
And a family member told CNN saying,
we will give them speedy trial. It is a short drop and sudden stop.
To the streets based on those
I
statements.
don't know why I made them Russian. I apologize.
Trusted these words and is now under gunfire.
I mean, they are besties.
Do not let him be executed. And obviously, my heart goes out to this woman, and it's terrible. And this is a regime that could not care less about human rights. It's not fully accurate because people took to the streets, took to the streets. I sound like Brazilian. They took to the streets. They took to the streets, which prompted President Trump's response. Now, if you mean more people took to the streets because Donald Trump said we would back you up, okay. But let's be really clear.
I mean, that's an argument you can make.
Our words here, and this really does reflect a situation that's pretty serious. So far, the retaliation, the actions from President Trump have just been economic, right? 25% tariff on any country doing business with Iran. Okay. That obviously sends a message, but it's a very long-term solution to a very short-term acute problem. If we were in a world where Donald Trump did not promise anything, we'd still be at the point, assuming you acknowledge reality, that there is a revolution.
And I really do think he's probably going to do something. I think it's going to be he will only do it if it's a swift, speedy strike, like Venezuela. I really do.
We'd still be at the point of
I don't think it's going to be able to be that speedy because these guys have been entrenched for way longer, and I'm pretty sure the Ayatollah's already fled because he's a pussy. He's fled to Mother Russia. He's now speaking like this, yes.
In our interest to do anything. We are not there now because Donald Trump said that we would do something. That's important because you don't want to repeat. Remember, this is what happened with the Kurds. Remember, George H.W. Bush called on the Kurds to revolt against the Iraqi regime, right, and Saddam Hussein, and then we kind of hung them out to dry. They were slaughtered.
Yeah.
They were all slaughtered.
And we don't want that.
A pretty formative moment for me as a kid because I was raised in Canada, and I remember everyone obviously opposing the Iraq War, but they hated George W. Bush. And I remember them saying, well, why is he going in there? At least Saddam Hussein, he kept things in order. He kept, right? So now we just destabilize it. But I was going, wait, hold on a second. Didn't you also say that the Bushes hung the Kurds out to dry, that we should have gone in and helped them when you were blaming them? But yeah, so it seems to me like the only constant here is no matter what your political opposition does, they're wrong. You need to go help the Kurds. But now you're saying that Saddam Hussein at least kept things lawful, organized, including the slaughtering of the Kurds. And the issue there is when people step forward because they expect you to go into battle with them or to help them, you are partially responsible for their deaths if that's what ensues. This also happened, by the way, with the Hmong there. With the they were going to be fighting the North Vietnamese. The CIA recruited them. Also, the Laotian communists. I have to say it with the right twang. After the fall of Saigon, U.S. abandoned them. As a result, 10,000 were slaughtered. That's not to say that Vietnam was anything other than a mistake and the way that we carried it out. But we do need to be a nation that keeps our word. Otherwise, our own allies will cease to trust us. So what does Iran need, for example, before military intervention? They need organization. They need communications, internet. Elon Musk has been helping with that. They need intel. They obviously would like some kind of military support. Here's what they don't need. Cringy crap like this. This picture. Please stop.
Who does that help?
Her, she thinks. You know what'd be more effective? Yeah. Just post. Kill the Ayatollah.
Yeah.
Let's just try and be straightforward with our views at this point. Not a cigar. And look, I'm ominously lighting it with a picture of it. Stop. This.
Oh, she had a cigar?
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that part of it. I thought she was just lighting a picture on fire. Oh, there's a cigar.
Yeah, she's lighting her cigar with a picture of the.
That's, by the way, a terrible sweater to be wearing while.
Yes.
Around an open flame.
It's also a terrible way to light a cigar. First off, it's a longer process than just using a lighter. Also, you don't want to be smoking ink.
No, that's going to get in there.
Use the cigar to light the picture. That's a possibility.
No, it doesn't work that
likely.
Way. It'd be very
this is like a chicken and the egg thing.
So you know what? You know what else they need? They need people to look. You want to question the number of people killed? I'm totally fine with that. By the way, I just don't think saying 99 million or 6 million or it's the Jews, and I don't trust any numbers coming out of there is really productive right now. But you know, it'd be great. I don't know. Maybe the same thing you were asking for in Gaza. Let reporters in, right? Let international people go in there and tell us what's really going on, and make sure that the population can communicate. Those are the same things that you were asking for. Totally different circumstances. I understand it, but if you're going to be consistent, you cared about the people in Gaza, you don't care about the people in Iran. I get it. Just maybe say that instead of calling us out for saying the exact opposite thing, I guess, even though it was a war. You want there to be communication. You want there to be journalists. You want there to be accurate information so the world isn't sleptwalked into a war again where they just kind of go, oh, yeah, I trust everything that's being said by these guys. Okay, well, let's ask for that. Instead, right now, it's pithy tweets about 99 million, Scott Horton. And Jake Shields 6 million right after that, and Dave Smith going out there. And I can't believe these guys say they didn't care about anybody in Gaza, and now all of a sudden they care about Iranians. I'm like, well, Dave, you cared about Gaza. What you're telling me is you don't care about Iranians.
Yeah.
So what are we doing? Is anybody consistent out there?
Yeah, I think that's far more inconsistent than saying we need to treat this international death cult as what it is. That's what the Islamic regime in Iran is. And look, you can say that the nation of Israel did not approach that well at all as far as the war in Gaza. You absolutely, and those are legitimate criticisms. And by the way, we can have an APAC conversation separately. And I would agree with you as far as the influence and as far as people having to.
Good morning, Lord Evil Sizer.
But that doesn't change the fact that the through line here is a death cult. I mean, anywhere Islam
pretty much
has grown, anywhere Islam ever throughout human history has become in charge of the government, this is what you see. It's just a matter of time. And it's not lost on me that very likely could happen in Iran 20, 30 years from now again. But here's where we are right now in real time, which also brings us to, actually, this surprised me. You know, Kalshi, where you can do the betting lines, they actually have right now the lines going as far as the Ayatollah when he would be out as supreme leader. And the odds are before February 1st, 22%, before April 1st, 48%, before July 1st, 56%. That's odd to me. 22% seems really low because I would imagine that if something's going to happen, if the United States is going to intervene, it is going to be before February 1st.
I would imagine.
Well, and that's the weird thing about
hang on to power for just a little while. I don't know. It's hard to see.
Right, because we'll either take forever and possibly not do something, or they'll sneak up on you and do it like Venezuela. At least the Trump administration. Most other admins, you have to hear about it from the news. Trump's team tells us before the news even can. They just, nowadays, news people just watch Twitter and TikTok.
A low chance, 22%.
True story.
Yeah.
So maybe I haven't done the betting stuff yet. I'm going to go in and try.
Well, if you put money on yes, that's a big payday.
Yeah.
If it happens sooner.
Yeah.
So hey, nice sound effect there.
There you go. Oh, you're still here.
All right. So, like I said, that's just an update on that. I really hope he's not bluffing. The people of Iran cannot wait. And if he's going to say he's going to do something, he needs to do it. That's one thing I will say. Like I said, and I know I say it all the time, but I've got no great love for Trump as a whole, Republicans, Democrats, whatever. But I will say that, love it or hate it, Donald Trump usually keeps his word, at least when it comes to campaign promises and presidential promises. Outside of that, he might be the most malevolent Mr. Liar-Face person ever. But that's why people hate him, because he says what he's going to do, and he does what he says, and he doesn't give a fuck. But let's continue to see what Mr. Asmongold has to say.
Oh my God. I got retweeted by the vice president. So this is the big
that's
news.
cool.
The ICE agent who shot Renee Good on January 7th in Minneapolis, Jonathan Ross, suffered internal bleeding to the torso following the incident.
And on this, I'm seeing mixed reports. I'm seeing a lot of people saying this, and I'm seeing a lot of people saying he was released within 24 hours. Okay, I know they don't do that with internal bleeding, but when you're a security hazard, especially within the state, where people want you dead, there might be other things. He might have been released to a clinic outside the state or a government clinic. Those exist, right? I watch a lot of TV. I know things.
It's almost as if she hit him. Well, what we're witnessing right now is a complete and absolute narrative collapse.
You know, I've been a defense attorney for a long time.
Kyle Kalinske, by the way, is a grifting piece of shit.
Unlikely. When the vehicle...
Don't ever take anything Kyle Kalinske says seriously. Same as the Krasensteins. These are all retarded people, and you're not retarded, are you? Are you?
Goes forward and he's actually hit with the vehicle.
Yeah.
If that happens, then I don't think there's really going to be any court that's going to say that that's not a serious threat.
Gotta love that seventh camera angle.
As clean a shoot as you want, but I don't think this officer will go to jail. I don't think there's going to be any charges brought. The officer being in front of the car doesn't give the person sitting in the car license
the right to run them over.
Yeah.
To hit the gas and run down the officer.
I think it's fair to consider CBS straight fascist government media. We are witnessing total narrative collapse. There have been like 5
CBS, who is I'm pretty sure they're still owned by Paramount. No, wait. CBS got taken over by what's her name? Oh, that's going to piss me off. Okay, I'll look it up while I let this play.
different arguments that these people have made. At the beginning, they said that she was just trying to drive her kids to school. Then they said that she was afraid. Then they said that she didn't hit him. And now they're saying that CBS is state-funded propaganda fascism. JD retweeted me. Did he really? Let me see. Got retweeted by the vice president. Thanks, bro. I appreciate it. I don't really talk about this a lot because I think that it's kind of like an ego thing. I know there are other streamers that like talking a lot about how, you know, they get mainstream credibility and mainstream approval. There's a lot of guys that are in really high places that I've spoken to and communicated with, and they're really nice guys, and some of them really appreciate what I do. And this is what I said, too. Wow, it's almost as if the thing that
Okay,
obviously
Barry Weiss
happened
doesn't
because
own
it
it.
was a-
She is the editor-in-chief, which is great. She's liberal, but she's not crazy, so that means that she'll be a lot more, you know, journalistic than most other people who claim to be journalists when they're really just opinion op-ed writers who are retarded.
Recorded from multiple angles and analyzed how the whole world on a frame-by-frame basis actually happened. Amazing. Looking forward to seeing the next goalpost shift. Well, unfortunately, we're not going to see the next goalpost shift. What we're going to see instead is just them agreeing with each other and lying. I'm not even kidding you guys. This is what somebody said in response. I think we all suffer from internal bleeding because blood runs through our body.
Okay. So when people post shit like this, 2 cults, 1 mantra, 0 critical thinking. 2020, just comply with the government, you won't die. And then people saying now, just comply with the government and won't die with the MAGA hat on. Look, in 2020, there were literally cops walking through the streets enforcing, in some cities, enforcing people staying inside their homes during COVID. There's plenty of video out there, unless it's all been scrubbed by, you know, the powers that be, so to speak, of people getting shot just stepping out on their own front porches during COVID. Troops literally walking down the streets in formation. That was scary. This right here, people being arrested for breaking the law. People, and then now they're saying because an American citizens get arrested. Oh, they're disappearing citizens. No, they're not disappearing people. No more than they disappear when they break into a convenience store or assault somebody or any of that other stuff. If you break the law, police will come for you. If you break the law in front of police, they will get you right then most of the time. If there's enough of them to keep a perimeter and get some of the people detained. The only reason some of these fucking children get away with it is because they go out in packs and they fight like bitches. They will kick people in the head while they're detaining their friends, which I understand wanting to help your friends, but I mean, come on. This is all LARPing. Like a lot of this shit. It's absolutely insane. I have a lot of friends who are not citizens. I have a lot of people who work with me who are not citizens. Most of them have all their papers in line. They're still nervous because the news is making them nervous. But unless you are actively protesting or one of these fuckers who are here on a green card just so they can protest on college campuses and such, you have nothing to fear. And there's been no record of people being arrested who are not illegals, who are not interfering in police arrests and investigations. Prove me wrong. Send me information.
Fats are essential and were wrongly discouraged in prior dietary guidelines. My message is clear. Eat real food.
You remember that movie Galaxy Quest? I'm sorry. I know it's horrible for me to say he's disabled or whatever, but RFK Jr. sounds like if Alex Jones tried out to be the leader of the aliens from Galaxy Quest. We need your help. Just hear it. If you know what Alex Jones sounds like, he's just basically a big old ball of raspiness. But with the speech patterns of Galaxy Quest.
For example, around the world where people live the longest.
Made a whole new set of nutritional guidelines, which I would say is not only far more sensible, but to me it begs the question, why wasn't it always this? Here's our favorite RFK.
The new guidelines recognize that whole, nutrient-dense food is the most effective path to better health and lower healthcare costs. Protein and healthy fats are essential and were wrongly discouraged in prior dietary guidelines. Diets rich in vegetables and fruits reduce disease risk more effectively than many drugs. Whole grains outperform refined carbohydrates. My message is clear: eat real food.
Though some
I agree.
suggest that
Eat
he has
real food.
ulterior motives regarding this new health plan, considering his recent team up with Wendy's.
It certainly is a big bun. Very big, fluffy bun.
Where's the beef? At Wendy's, you get more beef and less bun.
Jesus. All right, sorry. The Krasensteins piss me off. Breaking. This evening in Trump's America. This isn't Trump's America. Okay, Trump is doing what people do. He's detaining criminals. He's arresting criminals. Chaos erupts in Minneapolis after shooting of a man by ICE. As far as I know, the man who was shot was assaulting police officers and was shot with a pepper ball, and it hit him in the eye. After he was charging at ICE agents, he was shot with a pepper ball, and it hit him in the eye. That's on you, bro. I'm sorry. His friend was being arrested for assaulting and battering a police officer violently, and him and a bunch of other people charged because they've been trained, as was the ladies who were, Renee Good and her girlfriend. It's not her wife, girlfriend. They were not married. They were just those people who were together who say they're married, which I understand, but she is not a widow. They were also trained how to, Ashley, hey, I think you're, I think Evil Sizer's still in here. But anyway, back to what's going on. Why can't I? Back to Alex Jones if he was played by Galaxy Quest. He might be. He was in here commenting. Oh, wait. No, he's on. I'm sorry. He's on
Yeah,
YouTube.
He didn't have to tell you that.
Those
He's got
interests.
other motives, yeah.
But it almost should have been obvious.
Hey, Evil Sizer, your sister's watching on Kick.
He seems like more of a Jack-in-the-Box guy to me.
Yeah. Yes. Now, here's the thing. I know that you'll get some vegan, vegetarian channels out there that will take this.
Yeah, he watches on YouTube. Sorry.
And try and parse through this, but I don't want to present myself as a nutritionist or as a doctor. But I do think that we can all sort of agree on the realms, the boundaries of common sense. First off, you should be exercising.
Hey, Duke Nukem. I know we're talking about health and eating and health eating, and it sucks for you. I'm sorry. Oh, wait, you were talking about your brother not being on the same streaming service as you. I'm sorry.
That, you're probably going to solve 90% of the problems. But even the New York Times
Love you.
published this op-ed, which is in stark contrast to the leftists that you see on X and on social media. They wrote, Kennedy is telling Americans how to eat. It's not crazy advice. The new nutrition advice is, dare I say it, overall very sensible.
Nom nom nom.
Here's the thing.
Sorry, person in my Kick stream is saying that
And the
she's
previous nutrition
currently
advice
eating
was not
donuts
sensible
as
at
we're
all.
watching this
you
about
wouldn't be able to justify
the MAHA movement.
the disproportionate levels of refined carbohydrates under the guise of whole grains. Because what did that? Remember when we were kids and we watched, it would say Honey Nut Chip, Frosted Flakes, part of this balanced breakfast.
Yes.
And
And it was a
would be-
huge breakfast.
It was a huge
It
breakfast.
was like a Golden Corral.
It was a table full of
Yes, it
shit.
was. They'd have a glass of milk, a glass of orange juice. They would have an egg and a piece of fruit. And the cereal, like, well, you could do all of that without this bowl of cereal.
It'd be better off.
It pretty
there was
much.
oatmeal, there was grits, there was eggs.
Yeah.
There was a Pop-Tart.
Usually, I had the strudels, which, by the way, was basically it was just apple pie for breakfast.
It was great.
It was wonderful.
So
it was
the
awesome
new pyramid,
with icing.
which goes kind of in reverse order, the top, meaning what you should consume the least, things like grain, bread. In the middle, you have
You know what's crazy? This is almost exactly what they did on South Park like 10 years ago. They did this exact same shit. They just said flip the food pyramid upside down. Excuse me. And that's pretty much what they did. With the exception of like the oils and fats and shit. I'm pretty sure. But
eggs, fruit,
Damn.
you see that there. And then at the bottom, which I think, or this looks like it's reversed here in the opposite. I don't know if it's an inverse image, but the biggest portion would be meat, including red meat, poultry, veggies, right? That should be the bulk of your diet. Meaning if you look at it, proteins, meats, veggies, fruits are better for you than a bunch of refined carbohydrates. I think we know that.
Oh yeah, speaking of health, I didn't tell anyone this except for like one or two people, but my test came back and I don't have lung cancer. Yay! I'm still not smoking anymore.
Now I think the science is in. Also, India has decided to update their own food pyramid for the good of the people. That's a little bit different. I wouldn't recommend it.
Ew.
But here's the thing.
Its
This is
breasts
something
are
when people talk
empty.
about
Do you
Armageddon,
know what
you
that
voted for.
smells like?
I never would have voted for RFK Jr., to be clear, in a general election.
I would have.
I differ with him on too many fundamental issues. But on this issue specifically, we said this is where he could probably do a lot of good. What you have to ask yourself is, why was there such resistance to this for so long? People would point to the food pyramid. People would say, well, hold on a second, meat is bad for you. You should consider a vegetarian diet. Remember when green smoothies were a big thing, which we know can actually be catastrophic for
surprise.
for some people.
I thought I had cancer, but I don't.
Let's go through some of the claims that have been led us here and why we know now with the science as it's in, they were false. First claim.
$3,000 for peace of mind and nothing else.
Meat, you heard this for a long time, and you're still hearing it from some people. Red meat is bad for you. This is bad because red meat equals bad.
Too much red and processed meat will increase your chances of type 2 diabetes.
A diet that includes red
Says a woman who draws her eyebrows on. Fuck off.
raises the risk of developing cardiovascular disease and cancer.
You can't even pronounce it, sir. It's not true.
Problems like diabetes and high blood pressure.
Yes, more energy for gaming.
MIT say red meats may have a negative impact on our cognitive skills.
After all, the World Health Organization has declared red meat a carcinogen.
How the did steak become the healthiest food in the country?
Yeah, I would argue it's always been amongst the healthiest foods because
it is amongst the healthiest foods. It all depends on your sugar consumption. As long as you don't eat all those carbohydrates. Sorry, that was a horrible impression of Bane, but sounded more like Vlad Drago. But yeah, as long as you lower your sugar intake, you can have steak and your body will burn fat instead of sugars and carbohydrates. That's where a lot of fatigue comes from. I say that as someone who consumes Laffy Taffy like it's giving me life.
The truth. The claims that you have heard for a long time, you'll find some exceptions because there are many, 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 many studies out there. But looking at them, looking at the meta-analyses, looking at all of these studies, looking at the totality, the first claims that you heard that red meat was bad for you, those studies included processed meat. What that means is they compared vegetarians to the average American diet, which would include pizza with pepperoni.
Yes.
Which would include a bologna sandwich.
Yes.
Which would include fast food burgers.
And this is also true of, look, when it comes to, and you'll see a lot of those Impossible Burgers and Unbelievable Burger or whatever the fuck they're called, the veggie burgers at like Hardee's and Burger King. The ones that kind of taste like burgers at first, and then at the end, it's like someone lit a bean on fire in your mouth and then out your ass. Those are just plant waste. The same processed food waste that goes into all the unhealthy hamburgers that you get at these fast food joints, the Impossible Burgers and shit are just plant waste. It's just as bad for you, if not worse, than the meat that it's allegedly substituting.
If you
just
think about that, you just sort of
that and God, especially I think it was the Hardee's one. Like I said, I tasted that for 2 days. It was awful, and I ate everything, every overpowering flavor you could ever have. Like I loaded myself up on sour Skittles and a bunch of other shit just to try to get that god awful taste out of my mouth, and it didn't work.
Logically walk through it. We'll go, well, yeah. At one point in time, vegetarians
but apple cider vinegar that worked.
Conscious than the average American eating
that was
fast
awful.
food. Yeah. That's not the same as somebody who is health conscious eating healthy proteins in comparison to a vegetarian. When you look at those, you actually see that one will be deficient in certain key nutrients and one won't. By the way, I'm not advocating for carnivore or vegetarianism. No. I actually think this food pyramid is a pretty damn good place to start for most people and very feasible. When you actually separate out the unprocessed from the processed, association between unprocessed red meat consumption and colorectal cancer, breast cancer, type 2 diabetes, and heart disease. Meaning, once we said, okay, someone's eating steak and rice, or steak and veggies, or maybe eating, chicken breast and soup. Let's take this, let's compare it to a vegetarian diet. Oh, turns out not only is it kind of a wash as far as health overall, these people are stronger, more athletic, and seem to perform better. It's not, by the way, diets are unique. Some people react better to certain foods than others. But we were told for a long time. Remember that rumor? It used to be John Wayne died with like 20 pounds of impacted fecal matter in his colon because of all the red meat. It wasn't true.
What?
Yeah, that's not true.
Yeah,
you
that was
shit
a
your
big thing.
pants when you
Tell me
die.
if you guys
Everyone
remember
knows
that.
this.
Growing up.
The whole colonics movement?
Colonics, the detox thing. Your body does it very effectively, just to be clear.
Yeah,
Here's
after
another
you
truth.
die,
You always were taught color means nutrition. Well, you actually get more nutrition that's available to your body from high-quality meats than most vegetables. So,
Oh, the color of your
compared
food.
to
I was gonna
vegetables, red
say.
meat, they have. You've heard this micronutrient. That was a big trend. Remember people juicing? It was micronutrient.
Not gonna finish
diet.
that
You actually
statement.
get more in most good, high-quality lean meats, and they have a much higher bioavailability. That means you have more iron, more zinc, B12. A lot of people try to make.
What was I
up
going
the
to say?
B12
You're not going to trick me
algae
into
like
saying that
spirulina.
black
Turns
people
out
have
that's
way
an
more
analog, meaning your body can't
cause of
actually
or
use it. There's a
chance of getting
different form of
diabetes and high
vitamin
blood
A
pressure
in
and other
meat.
things. You're
People
not going
know
to get me to say that
retinol
on the
versus
air.
Beta-carotene. Retinol is readily absorbed. Beta-carotene has to be converted. Some people can't actually put it through the conversion process. It's why you can actually overdose on retinol, but you can't on beta-carotene. Your body craves the nutrients in meat. Put it this way. If you were to only eat red meat, maybe liver, red meat for the rest of your life, you could do it. Wouldn't be ideal. If you were to only eat vegetables, kale, spinach, you would see your health erode pretty quickly.
Yeah, kale's just
quickly
awful.
if you weren't supplementing with B12. That's a pretty good indicator as to what your body wants. There's also a case to be made historically that human beings evolved once we learned how to cook meat, discovered fire. That's what allowed our brains to develop. Your brain is comprised of mostly fat. Your brain needs fat. You don't get that from kale. Also, kale sucks. I don't care.
You hear that, Duke Nukem? Your brain needs it.
Turn it into chips, or you say,
That's why
well,
you're so much
cauliflower,
smarter
it's just
than
like
me.
eating it's just like eating buffalo wings. No, it's not, and I could hurt you.
Jesus, he looked straight at the
Also,
camera when
a
he
lot
said
of
that
vegetables
shit.
Suck.
Yeah.
Can I list them?
Yes.
Collard greens. That's disgusting.
Not good.
Yeah. Beets. Gross.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Hate beets.
Etc. There's more.
There's more. There's more. Beets taste like dirt. They
Yeah,
do.
they
I know
do.
they're good
It's 'cause
for you,
they-
but they
they
taste
look like
All right, I'm not going to have enough time to finish this, but I want y'all to hear two things before we
In the
clear
best
this
case
up.
scenario,
Yeah, it does.
I don't think you should drink alcohol.
Yeah, real
But
close.
it does allow people an excuse to bond and socialize, and there's probably nothing healthier than having a good time with friends in a safe way. If you look at the blue zones, for example, around the world where people live the longest, alcohol is sometimes part of their diet. Again,
Almost all
small
the time.
amounts, taken very judiciously.
You hear that drinking, not by yourself, but when you go out and drink with friends, people who are sociable live longer. Well, I'm fucked. So they're actually pushing drinking just so people will socialize more because, especially since COVID, and even before that for a lot of people are staying inside their houses. Me, I've always been that way just because people fucking suck. All right, there's something else. All right, this guy's just sad. So when asked who has the most unhealthy eating habits of anyone you know, RFK Jr. said this.
Across the board. And you don't have to have an unhinged diet. Like I said, did we already play as RFK actually discussed?
Who has the most unhinged eating habits?
The president. Bad food, which is McDonald's, and then, candy and Diet Coke. But he drinks the Diet Coke all times. He has the constitution of a deity. I don't know how he's alive, but...
One time I watched him reach in the air and eat a live snake. It was alive while he ate it.
That's amazing. Duke Nukem, if you weren't here when I said it earlier, I think that RFK Jr. sounds like Alex Jones if he tried out for the role of the lead alien in that Tim Allen movie Galaxy Quest. That's a long one to get out, but it's spot on accurate. I don't give a fuck. But guys, that's going to be the end of the show for today. I love when my regulars pop in here. I didn't see Shapeshifter in here. Normally they're in here commenting away. It's good, always good to see Evil Sizer and Dub Duke Nukem, the first person to subscribe to my Kick channel. My God, the legend herself. You are awesome, Dub Duke Nukem. Evil Sizer, you're great too. Mostly because your name has 2 69s in it, and that's twice as nice. But on that note, I'm going to head out of here, guys. I've been Alfie Animus. You guys have been awesome. I appreciate you guys so much. As always, this is Alfie Animus for